Hey there, Rednecks, Preppies, Redneck Preppies. It's me, the Redneck Preppy. How you doing today? Great. Good. If you're a collector of military surplus firearms, particularly the stuff dating back to the black powder or corrosive ammunition eras, you're probably familiar with, or at least have heard, the term dark bore. I'm going to discuss what dark bores mean, whether they impact your firearms performance, and finally, what you can do about it. For beginners, just to get this out of the way, when I say dark bores, I'm not talking about a dirty bore. That's remedied by simple cleaning. I'm also not talking about the state of the rifling. It's possible to have fairly crisp rifling, but also a dark bore. Now, if you look down the barrel of a new rifle or a well-maintained older one, you should be seeing a shiny bore. Modern rifles should be fairly shiny because they often have lined bores that are designed to prevent or limit corrosion and build up from things like lead and the jackets of bullets. Older rifles, at least those that do not have lined bores, should still be shiny, but it's usually a slightly duller shine. A dark bore is, as its name suggests, dark. It is corroded. This darkness is caused by pitting in the bore, often by the corrosive material found in primers from yesteryear and then subsequent poor cleaning. This pitting, unless a rifle is really far gone, is what's called micro pitting. We're not generally talking large pits in the bore when we're talking about dark bores. Now, there are obviously different stages of bore darkness, and I'll show you them right now from least to worst. First up is what many call frosted, due to the fact that it has a frosted appearance due to that pitting. The next stage is an in-between between frosted and a dark bore. This is kind of subjective because depending on how far it tilts in one direction or another, you could call this frosted, or you could also call it dark. Finally, we have a dark bore. As I said, dark bores are often seen in older rifles, black powder stuff, rifles from the corrosive primer era, that sort of stuff. If you have a rifle from those eras with a nice shiny bore, it was clearly taken care of during its life. So do the same if you shoot black powder or corrosive ammunition, please. So what does that mean for your firearm? Does a dark bore consign your rifle to wall hanger duty? No, but it could impact your rifle in two ways. The first is accuracy, though I'm going to be honest with you, I personally don't put too much stock into it as a big factor. Unless you have a seriously screwed up bore due to pitting, I think claims of a loss of accuracy due to dark bores is hugely exaggerated. Given the usual age of these rifles, I think your accuracy is more likely going to be influenced by things like throat erosion, crown damage, and the condition of the rifling. The potential effect that a dark bore could have in accuracy is probably limited to the buildup of lead or jacket bullet fragments and remedied simply by cleaning. It's entirely possible to have a rifle that shoots very accurately despite a dark bore, as long as it doesn't have any other issues with the chamber and bore. Now, I'm not saying that a dark bore is purely an aesthetic issue. It is corrosion, after all. Merely that accuracy is the result of a confluence of factors. The second is cleanliness. Micro pitting, or really any pitting, in the bore means that you're going to see more and a quicker buildup of lead, jacketing, carbon, and whatever else your bore is subjected to. That's going to require more and very thorough cleaning of the bore. I'm going to say right away that there is no remedy for a dark bore. I know there are plenty of restoration experts at your local gun store who will tell you to buy some JB bore paste and go to town. See, I fell for it too. If you have a frosted or a dark bore, you're going to need to make peace with two facts. The first is that the dark bore is caused by pitting in the metal of the bore. You can work stuff like JB bore until you have Popeye arms and nothing is going to change. And if it did happen to become shiny after all that work with JB bore, it was dirty, not dark. Second, you're going to have to accept that a clean bore is going to mean something different for a rifle with a dark bore. You can run as many solvent-drenched patches down that bore as you like. The second that you run a bore brush down there and shake loose more stuff embedded in those micro pits, you're probably going to be close to square one again. So be prepared to have to clean a little bit more with a dark bore. Don't spare either the cleaning solvent or bore brush. Have plenty of patches on hand, and accept that only God and my mother are perfect, and that bore will never be spick and span clean. Now, I generally don't like giving cleaning recommendations because everyone's got their own thing, but I tend to use Hoppies or Ballistol when I clean bores out, and they work just fine. Don't be afraid of getting a brass, which I prefer, nylon or plastic bristle brush in there during the process. Afterwards, I just follow up with a patch with some oil on it. Oh, and don't sit on a rifle that's shot black powder or corrosive ammunition through it. You get home from the range, clean it right away. As many bores were probably ruined thanks to the laziness of civilian owners as were through less than thorough field cleanings in war. Like I said before, a dark bore does not relegate your rifle to garbage rod status. If you have decent or sharp rifling and there's no other damage to the bore, barrel, chamber, you'll have probably an accurate shooter. I own an SVT-40 that has a frosted bore and it shoots just fine. I'm able to regularly ring an 8-inch steel gong at 200 yards, so it probably shoots no worse than it did when Ivan used it to clap Germans during the Great Patriotic War. That said, having a rifle with a shiny bore is always preferable to a dark bore. So when you're eyeing a prospective lady to add to the gun safe, make sure to have a bore light with you and give that bore a good look. If you need to clean it out to get that look, then do it. You might be pleasantly surprised. I've seen more than a few rifles come out of gun stores that were billed as having dark bores, but in reality were only dirty. Just keep it to yourself until you hand the cash over. I'll say it again, a dark bore doesn't mean the rifle will shoot poorly. If you have sharp rifling, a good crown, and no other damage to the bore or chamber or anything else, it probably will shoot just fine. At any rate, I hope you found today's video to at least be vaguely entertaining and mildly informative. As always, I hope your military surplus firearms fire straight and true. Take care, and bye-bye.